Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo here with Chris, the technician Aceto, on this July 31st, 2017 afternoon. And Chris, we are on TV actually, so this is Heavy Muscle Radio on TV. And the reason
TV.
Yeah, I know you love TV. The reason we do this thing because you just got back from the USA Championships in Las Vegas, and we want to show pictures. Derrick Lunsford wins the men's overall title there. He'll be added to the elite list of USA champions of the past. Chris, how good is Derrick Lunsford right off the bat?
Well, we're going to find out. I think he's doing Tampa in a few days, so you're going to find out right there.
Oh, cool.
I mean, he's very good. He's got a very good front double bicep, tremendous back double bicep, tremendous back lat spread. Actually, he doesn't have weaknesses too. So, it's one thing to have very good shots. A lot of people who win shows, including USA's, they might have some great shots, but also they might have some weaknesses too. It's hard to find weaknesses on his physique. So, lack of weaknesses allows you to place really high. Lack of weaknesses with a lot of showy shots, the front double back, lat spread, allows you to win shows. And that was the case with him. I mean, light heavy.
Yeah, for a light heavy to win the overall, you got to be pretty damn good. It doesn't happen very often.
True, absolutely. Well, that's sum it up. Lack of weaknesses, and I named three powerhouse shots that he has. Back double, back lat spread, front double. Professional, presents his physique well in prejudging. Looks like he's competed over and over and over. No lacking of confidence on stage. He looked great.
Conditioning was really good. That light heavyweight class was really good. Now, Chris, before we get into the USA, because we have a lot to talk about today, if you had to rank the USA, men's open bodybuilding, obviously, on a scale of 1 to 10, comparing it to past contests, where would it rank?
The show itself? In
yeah,
terms
not
of
the talent pool there.
I mean, the talent pool's good. The talent pool's good, but I'll crouch it this way. I sat with the Boston Massacre, Jose Raymond, and someone had sent him a picture when he was in like a lightweight class, but looked like a light heavy.
Right.
And his brother was standing next to him, Tito. David Henry was standing next to him, and Stan McQuay was next to him. And that was the top four of that show, and it just goes to show you what an unbelievable show that was. So to compare it to, let's say, and that was like 15 years ago. I wouldn't put it on that level.
Well, get 1 to 10. Rank it.
7.
Okay,
7.
That's good. That's good. You're not going to always get a 9 or a 10. That's a very odd year that you would get a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, 7. However, I'll say maybe push it up there if you include Classic, because the Classic was very impressive.
Yeah. Well, you had a lot of guys in the show, and that to me is probably the most impressive statistic, because we want to make sure that the sport of bodybuilding is growing. And obviously, when you see a lot of guys entering, and good quality guys, then that makes me feel like the sport is healthy, I
mean, Dave, don't get me wrong. There were a lot of good quality guys, but it's hard to get, it's hard to get people who you can say, I have confidence, next week they're going to go into a pro show and do well. I think, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think Derrick will do well right off the bat. I think Jake Wilson will do very well right off the bat.
Jake Wilson, who won the heavyweight class.
Heavies, yeah. And there's people that they beat that, will get their pro card this year, and they'll also do well as pros. I don't think they'll do as well as Jake and Derrick, but, they'll be competitive at pro shows, and that's what you need, right, to keep everything going. You need amateur athletes who are that good that they can step up right into a pro show and be in a mix.
Now, Derrick Lunsford, who's going to be doing Tampa this coming weekend, is obviously going to do the 212 class because he was a light heavyweight. Do you think giving up, 12 pounds of muscle to some of these guys is going to be a problem for him, or do you think that he has enough, in the tank there to actually do some damage in Tampa?
Well, Jose reminded me this weekend of a guy named Marvin Ward. So what happened if Marvin Ward gave up 90 pounds and was peeled out of his mind? He'd win the Tampa next week, guaranteed.
Yeah, but is he Marvin Ward, though?
Well, no, but he's very good, and it depends on the lineup. And I saw the lineup, and I don't see. I mean, nobody stuck out. I mean, that doesn't mean that these guys aren't good because I don't know everyone in the 212s, but
the 212s is a very small class for what we've seen this past season.
Yeah, which works to his and Jake's doing the show too. Their advantage that there's not tons of people. I see Sami Al-Haddad who's going to be like considered the favorite, right?
Yep, I would think so. Kim Jong-ho.
Kim Jong-ho is a wild card. He can be like good or tremendous, and people don't know how good he is until you see him in real life. And that's, I think, going to be the case with Derrick and Jake next week, is you're not going to know really how they're going to do in the 212 until you see them next to some of the other guys, because you just never know. I mean, it's just like judging this show. I mean, I sat and I watched it and I said, wow, this guy's going to do really good. But when he gets compared with guys who get 1, 2, and 3, you see like, oh, no wonder why he was 7th.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a comparison sport.
I see in the super heavyweights, Patrick Moore won that class. The super heavies have been pretty dominant the last several years, going back. It seems like the talent pool maybe isn't as dominant as it was. I don't know if it was just this one show. How did you like, I see Matt Berzicott made a comeback. He had sent me some pictures like a couple days before, and he comes in second. How was Patrick Moore in the rankings of other super heavyweight champions?
He's up there in the, he's not a dominant winner. He looked good. He's round. He had decent conditioning, meaning he certainly didn't have lights out conditioning. I was working with someone, Matt Kuba, who got 3rd in the show, and I thought his condition was the best in the show in that class. And Matt had asked me after the show, after prejudge, and where am I going to be? I said, I thought he beat Matt Berzicott. Nothing against Matt. Matt looked great. But I said, your condition isn't, what went wrong? That's a typical question bodybuilders ask. I said, nothing went wrong. He said, how did I look? I said, you appealed. He said, was I flat? I said, no, you're crazy full. I said, so how do I not win? He said, the guy who won, who do you think's going to win? I said, I think this kid, Patrick Moore. And he asked, he looks soft. And I said, is he peeled? No. Is he hard enough for that roundness? Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you look at pictures probably by him, you could, the knock on Patrick could be he needs to up the ante in terms of conditioning, but it's good enough for the roundness, and I don't think this, Dave, with Patrick Moore, I saw the pictures. He looks good in pictures, but in real life, I thought his V-taper is much more pronounced. It doesn't show up in the pictures, and that's what won the show for him. His round pecs, round shoulders.
He doesn't seem to hit his poses that well, Chris, from what I'm saying.
No, he didn't. He don't have a lot of stage experience. I just, we're talking about Lunsford having, it seems to me like stage experience, know what he's doing. When I'm looking at Patrick Moore, the vulnerability, that he left open is, he didn't really hit the shots really, like I'm not sure if he was really, maybe he was surprised because they put him in the middle. He didn't seem to take advantage of that and hit the shots aggressively, and he hits them. Some of them he hits a little off. Like for his physique, he doesn't really. I think he could make some adjustments, but he's the winner. He's got the pro card, and maybe he'll jump in Tampa this week.
Does Patrick Moore have Cedric McMillan potential? He looks like he's like a diamond in the rough almost a little bit.
He's got a lot of potential. He's a diamond in the rough for sure. Really, I mean, look, if he had Matt Cooper's condition, there would have been zero. I mean, we would have been talking about him like doing something special this week at Tampa, I think.
He might have won the overall too,
Well, I mean, if he had Jake's condition, who won the class before that, or even Lunsford's condition, Lunsford, so his condition was good. It was good enough to win, and I thought, I had him as the winner. Reluctantly, I wish he was off so I could say, oh, he got a gift.
I see that Odrius Jegelevicic is in the lineup too. Remember Odrius?
Yeah, he's like Mike Quinn.
Yeah, Odrius has got to be almost 50. I'm sure that he's close to my age.
He's got the back double is ridiculous.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
The back double almost guarantees him a top 5 finish.
He's got the greatest back, on the lineup, and he's got that crazy long hair, and he's got a really offbeat personality. I love it.
He's got thin skin. He's gnarly. You know what I mean?
He actually texted me after I had him saved in my phone from like 5-6 years ago. He actually texted me after prejudging. He's like, "How did I look?" And I was taken aback that he still had my number, and because I haven't talked to him in so long. And I'm like, I'm not there. I said, I don't know. I have to look at the pictures.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's hard to know if you're not.
I don't know why he didn't do Masters Nationals. The guy definitely would have got his pro card there.
Oh, easy. Slam dunk.
Maybe he doesn't know he can do it.
Maybe he's dating girls and telling them that he's 35. His physique looks like he's 35, and he don't want to, if you say he's 50, he might,
You could still do it at 30. 35 and over they got now, Chris. Pretty soon it'll be 25 and over. You could do Masters Nationals. It'll be, the only guys doing the USA will be like the Cody Montgomerys and the Mo Abarages.
If you can squat without pain at 35 years old, I don't consider that Masters, because the pain doesn't really kick into like the late 30s on the training so hard.
That's right. Yeah, Derrick Lunsford wins a very tough light heavyweight class, Chris. I wanted to mention one of the guys in the light heavyweight class, Mo Abaraju, who's last or 2 years ago teen national champion. Actually, last year I think it was his teen national champion. He had placed, I think, top 5 last year. I had him on the Live with TV show. A terrific story of this guy's life. If you want to, he's 21 years old. If you want to hear like a crazy story about how this guy, what he did to become a bodybuilder, it'll wrench the tears out of you. He got food poisoning. He got all tied up with a hotel room that didn't have a refrigerator. He had to put his fish in a cooler, and you know how that goes, Chris. And after the second to third day, it's pretty funky. And he got food poisoning. He was throwing up, a la Cody Montgomery there, it sounded like.
Look, you know what? If Cody Montgomery had, I guarantee you, if Cody Montgomery had food poisoning one day before that he actually had it, there's no way he would have made it in the top 5. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
So Mo will be back, but you're I guess in critique of him when I asked you about him, you said that he needs to put a little more size on.
I think, yeah, which means he's got the shape and the structure to win the class for sure.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, he's got the shape, the flow, and the structure. The body parts go together in the right way. Send him over to Kuwait. They'll probably take him.
Yeah, I asked him that on the interview. I said, "Would you go to the camel crew?" And he said, "Only if my wife and my kids could come." So, that's probably very unlikely. So.
Because they won't take Del Rosa. I don't think Victor's going back, and certainly not Akeem. So there's more. Those with like 3 lead balloons that dropped. So there's room, of course, for new people that they can try out.
Now, I heard rumors. Is this true that well, the rumor I heard was from you, but is the Rami camp trying to contact you behind the scenes to help him?
Well, you never know, because it's like people say, I'm friends with Rami. Can you come in and put your finger on the magic pedal towards the end? And what
did you think of those pictures that surfaced online of him the other day?
I told you he's big. Let me ask you this: is Rolly big?
Yeah, huge.
Has Rolly been big in the last 6 Olympias?
Yep.
Is Rami big?
Yep.
Has Rami been big in the last 6 Olympias?
Yes, he has.
Okay. Did Rami beat Rhoden and Dexter last year more than once?
He beat him. Yeah, I know he beat him.
More than once?
Yeah.
Who do you work with?
I don't know. Some guy, some technician guy.
So you could imagine that the phone call, there may be some validity to it, right?
Well,
De La Rosa reminds me that the chicken is not magic over there. It's not the anabolic chicken. It's just the dose of the anabolics is suspect.
What did De La Rosa say was you said that when they deliver Domino's pizza here in the U.S. you get like a free garlic roll. What do you get over there when they deliver the pizza?
You get as Dennis James had mentioned, you get a prescription for anabolics, but you don't know what it is, but you're expected to take it.
Now, is it true that this is what I heard in rumor?
It's not. Let's see.
Because Boston Lloyd is Mr. 3cc. He figures that you shouldn't waste the 3cc syringe.
Boston Lloyd's got to start his own country, and Boston Lloyd's a kindergartner.
But I was going to say, Boston Lloyd's the 3cc.
I think Boston Lloyd may be right, actually. I may have to apologize to Boston for the dosages.
What do you get over there in Kuwait? A 5cc? Is that what they give you?
You get a 5cc. I didn't know there was such a thing.
I always heard you should only inject 3 cc's at a time into one body part. So.
Well.
So you got a 5 cc syringe over there? Is that what they bring to your room?
Do you suspect those Rolly's arms are jimmied or not jimmied?
I don't know. I don't know why you need to jimmy them.
I vote jimmied. How's that?
You think they're jimmied up?
They posted a new Brandon Curry picture today.
Let's see what the new Brandon Curry picture, Johnny.
And as predicted, Dave, because that information came from De La Rosa. Sorry, John, I can't keep my. He said you got a promise. I already broke my promise about the 5 cc's. So you can't tell me anything else in the future, John. But I was right that they take 1 million of those photos and then they post up one of those 1 million that you look your best in.
And they got the light coming in there. They got the window.
I made a mistake. I called it the magic mirror. It's the magic photo because I didn't know there's they take up 200 of them.
Well, I'm sure they put it. We know everyone uses. I have clients that send me filtered pictures, so I'm sure, I imagine Instagram is filtering some of these things out. But look,
listen, I helped Matt Cooper and only one person in the show. Super heavy. I thought he was. You can go look at the pictures. He's the hardest in that class at least. And I don't spend a lot of time at all on social media. Only stuff that I post to make people try to make them laugh or mad, one of the two. And, he sent me pictures 6 weeks out, and then he had sent me pictures of people that he saw on Instagram, and I thought, there's no one, you can't beat any of these guys in the supers.
Yeah.
Meaning, people filter their pictures. It's just like a real estate, Dave. Go look at a house for sale with the realtor's pictures. The living room looks like you could fit 40 people. You get in there, it can fit 5.
No, I know.
And even the color is different.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's why they have bodybuilding shows. That's why they, you can post up your pictures all you want. That's why when Jacob Wilson, posts 0, and Jose trucked him over to my room the night before the show, and I looked at him for about 3, 2, 1. I said, "You're gonna win." He said, "Let me show you this." I said, "I don't need to see that. I can show you just standing. You're perfectly full and perfectly peeled."
Well, you know what? Like you said, if you're going to market something properly, I guess they're doing a good job over there at Oxygen Gym Marketing because they're putting up the right pictures. People are getting crazy excited. People think there's some magic over there.
Well, that was my point. They had the crazy pictures of John running into the show. The crazy pictures of Victor looked like Coleman's back running into the show, and the crazy pictures of Hakeem running into the show.
Yep. And
I mean,
nothing came of it.
That's just like factoids. Crazy pictures running into shows. Either the pictures are like magic mirror pictures, or something horribly goes wrong in the last week. Yeah. And the carbs don't go. I got asked Dave Kalick. I don't think the intramuscular glycogen stores are filling up with the right amount of potassium to create that full look.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I want to just say congratulations to Jake Keidel, who wins the Classic Physique overall at the USA. You said he was very impressive, correct?
Classic Physique winner? Yeah, he looked great. I mean, the Classic had a lot of depth, Dave. Just a lot of depth. And I think what they're doing is still, I don't know who's head judging it, but they're still weeding out. You got a lot of guys with a lot of muscle and condition, but they're doing a good job, boxing in. This is a classic look.
Right.
So nobody's going in who should be, in an open class and suckering the crowd. And the crowd, because it's a bodybuilding crowd, they might go, ooh, ah, and, the judges, I think, are doing a tremendous job saying, yeah, this guy's peeled, hard, and full, but he doesn't really have classic flow, lines, and shape.
Yeah.
And I think if they continue to police that, then you're going to have tremendous pro classic events in the future. Whereas, we won't get into this craziness of policing. What's a women's physique that started out as classic-y look, and now it's morphed all the way back, right?
Well, I mean, I was going to bring up the women's bodybuilding event had 5 people in the entire show. 1 who got a pro card. So you had a 1 out of 5 chance to get a pro card. I think it's time, like I said, I think it's time to shut down the division at this point. There's no reason why these girls, I looked at the pictures, they could easily, you know, do women's physique if they wanted to, and they probably would not be too big at this point. So I think we've hit that moment. We'll see what happens in 2018. I predict that they'll shut the division down.
Yeah.
At least on the amateur level, I think it's worthy of that. You know, maybe keep it on the pro division since you got the Wings of Strength people. But look, the USA. There was a lot of champions. There was over 1,000 people in the show this past week, and John Lindsay puts a phenomenal show on every single year. If you ever want to get down to a real great show that takes place in Vegas over the summer, the USA is definitely the show to go to. Although now that the Nationals are being held in Miami every year, you know, in November, that's a very appealing show to go to as well. And of course, us being from Florida, you know, well, not you, Chris, but you have a house in Florida, so you qualify. It's easy to drive right over there and get to see the show, so that's convenient. Johnny's got all the overall winners up there on stage, and I think it was overall. I agree. I think it was a great USA Championships, and I think it will go down as one that is remembered for quite a while. Obviously, the men's overall champion was not the super heavyweight like we're used to seeing, but the quality of the show was terrific. So congratulations to everyone competing. I'm sure you had a good time down there. I'm very glad that I didn't go, to be honest with you. It would have been a very long weekend. Now, Chris, today marks or I think it was yesterday actually, is the 70th birthday of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
70 years old. I mean, what an icon. I mean, everyone's like, oh, he looked 70 for the last 20 years. I'm like, no, he didn't. Like, you guys are so stupid. I mean, Arnold is still involved in the bodybuilding industry at 70. As a matter of fact, I think he's more involved in bodybuilding now than he was probably 15 years ago when he was, you know, had all these political aspirations. I think now that he's getting older, he's kind of like more into the whole bodybuilding thing. And I see he had a crazy birthday party. He was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. I saw Franco was there. Stallone was there. All the bigwigs were there. That would have been a nice party to get invited to.
Yeah, that would have been great. Where was the party? In Vegas or where?
No, I think it was in California somewhere.
No, I mean he's you know, he doesn't have to be involved, and I think he's, you know, he's going to have one of these legacies that are, you know, crazy, and I actually think he still has political aspirations, but
where can he go from here though?
I don't know.
Not going
Senate. He can go for California Senate.
Maybe Trump will repeal the constitutional amendment that requires you know, to be born here. Yeah,
maybe Trump.
But they don't like each other though, so that probably won't happen.
No, they hate each other. Yeah. There'd be a good maybe undercard at the Conor McGregor fight coming up in August. Trump because Trump was in the WWE, right?
Right, but Trump doesn't work out.
So was Arnold. Arnold was think of Vince McMahon. Talk about a legacy.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is smart enough to get Arnold in the squared circle, right? You know Triple H. You could ask him about it. Yeah. And Trump.
Yep.
You know, maybe they can get a grudge match going.
Who would win though? Because you know they'd have to script it. So one of those guys would have to agree to lose. Yeah.
Well, Trump would probably end up suing him somehow.
Well, usually it's a money thing. So who would take the money and take the fall? Would Arnold do that over? I don't think Trump would do it, right?
No, neither of them would take the money. This may actually turn into a real fight.
In which case, Arnold would probably kick Trump's ass, I would think.
Yeah, I think Arnold could take him out.
Unless Trump's got that one move, you know, where he kind of just like like Hogan, the leg drop, might catch Arnold by surprise, you know.
Trump would have to have it at a Trump property though. They'd have to work it in. It'd have to be, you know, everyone would have to stay at a Trump hotel.
That's right. And there'd probably be like a trap door that Arnold wouldn't know about. That Trump would hit the button, you know, and his leg would fall through the stage or something like that. We
haven't heard the end of the Arnold Trump feud because as something big, you know, as more like fiascos happen with Trump, you're going to get Arnold to make, you know, to say he's going to chime in. It's in his bloodstream. Right? He's going to chime in and say, I told you so.
Yeah, no, you're right. Now, some sad news in the bodybuilding world. Chris, I want to announce, a lot of people know this already. There was a guy, an IFBB pro bodybuilder by the name of Shawn Harris, who trained out of Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym. I've known him since the 90s. We used to go to shows and he'd be there, and I remember eating You know, I remember eating. Well, first of all, the news is that he died in a horrific car crash, less than a week out from the Tampa Pro, which he was getting ready for. And I know Shawn from the '90s. I remember in the '90s. He was married, and I don't think I was married yet. And he was like, he'd be at these shows, and he'd be like, man, I can't wait till I can get on stage again. I'm like, what's up? He's like, well, I got to get my wife pregnant again. You know, I promised I'd give her 2 kids, and then she said I could do all the bodybuilding I want. And so, you know, he was kind of just sitting back watching, and then he got, you know, obviously once he had his 2 kids, he decided, all right, now I'm going for it. And he turned pro at a master's level, but you know, he had a great physique. He was always at the gym. You could tell he loved, you know, working out. He was a teacher by trade, but he was always at that gym training people, training himself. And he was one of these guys that would play it off like, it's not a big deal. But, you know, he really did. I know he was obsessed with bodybuilding, just like, you know, all of us were at one point. And he was, you know, he was going to be doing the Tampa Pro Show and trying to, you know, obviously maybe crack the top 5, you know, in his 40s. He still had a great physique. He really had no injuries or anything like that. He always had the Wolverine look, you know, from X-Men. He had the beard, the hairdo, and everything like that. And we're watching some footage of him training with another friend of mine, Tony Puccio, that Johnny had shot at the gym a couple years ago. And it's a very sad thing because, you know, here's a guy who had 2 kids, 2 boys, you know, growing up still. You know, I don't even know if they were teens yet. And you know, they lost their dad. It's a rough thing to go through. There's a GoFundMe campaign. I have a link on my Facebook page. Johnny can put that up there. If you guys want to donate some money to help with the you know, expenses and everything like that associated with this. No one should ever have to go through that. No kid should ever have to lose their father at such a young age. It's a terrible thing that happened, and it just goes to show, Chris, you never know when it's your time.
You know what you had. It goes back to you have no input. Nobody asked you, you know, when or how you're going to come into this life, and no one's going to ask you when or how you're going to leave it. You know, and if you ask anyone, you know, people generally like to die in an old age in their sleep. Yeah. But you know, when your time is up, it's up, and yeah, it's very sad. It's sad in and of itself. It's even sadder that he has kids that he's, you know, leaving behind, which I'm sure is like devastating on his family. Yeah. And not to make light of it, you know, not to like materialize it, but it's sad also because, you know, he was pursuing his dream at the moment, you know, and a week away from doing something that he absolutely positively probably liked doing more than teaching or anything else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because usually, you know, when you're a bodybuilder and you do a bodybuilding competition, you know, let's face it, I mean, outside of your family, or sometimes including your family, you enjoy prepping and competing in that more than anything.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I don't know what happened, the official story is. I don't know if they've determined the cause of death, but some people speculated that he fell asleep while driving, because I think he went through the windshield at like 70 miles an hour. They said the car, I haven't seen the car picture, but someone said that they saw the picture of the car and it was horrific. I mean, so who knows? You know, you got to, I always tell people, if you're driving at night, especially while you're dieting on low carbs and you're not sleeping that much, you know, there's got to be some safety net. If you feel like you're tired, pull over to the side of the road. I can't tell you how many times I did it when I used to compete, and I would just sleep. Sleep for 15 minutes. Get yourself refreshed a little bit, and then get back in the car and start driving again. There's nothing wrong with that. The one time I got into a car accident, and it wasn't really my fault, but was during contest prep, and I couldn't wait to get home. I was so hungry. I wasn't speeding, but I was frantic, you know, in that frantic mode, and that's not a good way to drive. And some guy made a left turn at the last minute, and I just couldn't stop the car fast enough. You know, I was going the right way, but it doesn't matter. And then I wound up having to go to the hospital, so I wound up not eating anyway. So guys, take your time. You know, when you're out there, when you're dieting, you're tired, you know, understand that you're driving a death machine, as my dad would say. That's his favorite expression. It's a death machine. You could die very easily in this car, so, you know, be careful out there on the road. That's the take-home message right there. Speaking of my dad, my poor dad. My dad, they took him to the hospital the other day from the assisted living because he couldn't Couldn't go to the bathroom. I figured it was from the OxyContins he was taking. Turns out he has a hernia that was twisted in his intestinal tract, and he couldn't go to the bathroom. I guess so. The doctor must have gone in there and untwisted it. They didn't have to do surgery. He might have to get some surgery following up. And so when I get to the hospital, he had just woken up. They had given him Dilaudid. He was whacked out of his mind. He's like, I gotta go to the bathroom! He was screaming. He's like, I'm gonna go in the bed! He's screaming so loud. He's so loud that I was so embarrassed. And, you know, the nurse had to get him up and get him to the bathroom. And it was my dad's just, he's completely wacky. You know, the funny thing was when I went to see him yesterday, which was like 2 days after he got back, he didn't even remember the whole episode. I said, you know you were in the hospital? He goes, for what? So John Romano said it best. The greatest gift you can get in old age is senility, because you don't remember anything. Every day is a new day for you. You know, the only people that suffer are the family. So.
Well, sometimes it's good to remember, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. It's not when you get old. Because I don't think my dad even remembers that he has arthritis sometimes. He's like, why are my hands tingling? I'm like, Dad, you got arthritis. He's like, I do? So his pain is not as bad as it used to be because he can't remember. All right, let me, I wanted to, you know what, let's take a commercial break. And when we come back, I want to talk about a couple more things, and then we'll wrap this up. Obviously, this is a special edition of Heavy Muscle Radio on TV here on this July 31st, 2017 afternoon. Go stay tuned, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
A legendary name in hardcore supplementation. Iron Mag Labs. 100% original, patent pending andro compounds. The most effective, hardcore, groundbreaking bodybuilding supplements in the world. Iron Mag Labs. Revolutionizing hardcore supplementation for more than a decade. Visit ironmaglabs.com. ironmaglabs.com.
Hi, I'm Dave Palumbo, and I just had a protein shake made with Quest Nutrition's new salted caramel protein powder. And I can tell you this, it's on a whole new level. It's a total reinvention of the protein shake. The taste is incredible, and its creamy texture and richness make it taste like a real caramel milkshake. It's incredibly low carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 22 grams of protein in every serving. No soy, and it's gluten-free. Just add water, ice, a scoop of protein, and shake it up. It's that easy. I actually look forward to drinking this shake. And Quest Nutrition has got a total of 7 different flavors. They come in convenient single-serving packets so you can mix and match. Check out loveyourproteinpowder.com for more information on Quest protein powders and some delicious shake inspirations. Welcome back to Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm sitting here with Chris, the technician Aceto, on this July 31st, 2017 afternoon. And Chris, we had some action in the IFBB Pro Ranks this past weekend. The NPC IFBB Prestige Crystal Cup. And that's down in Boca Raton, Florida. And we had a men's physique event. And I'm happy to announce that Fernando Rios from Paraguay wins. He'll be going to the Mr. Olympia competition. Congratulations. And in the bikini, Marcia Goncalves from Brazil wins another pro show. So congratulations on those two. And some gossipy news. Let's talk gossip, Chris, because I noticed that Phil Heath got engaged. Congratulations, Phil, on that. Maybe you can get married after you win your 7th Olympia at in Vegas. Who knows? But I also noticed that Shawn Rhoden has been feuding with Phil Heath online, or at least with Phil's fiance online. What's the bad blood, Chris? Since you work with Rhoden, so you know what's going on. What's the bad blood between Rhoden and Heath? Is it just that they're competitive, or what?
I have no idea, but I'm a good guesser because I don't get involved at all. I don't know what's been said, when it's been said, but Phil has thin skin, but he is a great bodybuilder. So the problem with Phil's problem is this. He's a great bodybuilder. He wins the Mr. Olympia every year. And not every year, but he'll win, and people like, and that's the nature of where we are with social media these days. They'll say Phil sucks.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be, they'll say his gut was hanging out one year, then the next year his midsection's fine, and they'll say, you know, his legs were better last year. You know, his condition was better in 2011. So I think he doesn't get the respect that he thinks he deserves. Well, and if I personally won Mr. Olympia 8 times, well, maybe not me, because I would, if, oh, how many times he's won it. You know, other people who would win the Olympia, you know, maybe that stuff wouldn't get under their skin. But I think the nature of the beast is that, you know, people in general criticize him for not being a dominant champion or a great champion. And, you know, I mean, if you're Phil Heath, you got to say, like, what the F do I need to do to get, like, a pretty darn consensus of, you know, I'm the best bodybuilder on the planet.
Right.
And so that lends itself to fighting. So when Rhoden says XYZ, I mean, Kai has said it. You know, Kai said something, signed a picture, and Rhoden signed a picture, and, you know, he goes on meltdown after that.
Well, Chris, I think what happened was ProSups, which is Rhoden's sponsor, put up some ads that said, and the next Mr. Olympia, and they in the ad, and it's a picture of Rhoden, obviously. So I think maybe Phil got offended by that, or his fiance got offended by that. I'm not sure. You know,
well, what's he expect them to say? And the next the next runner-up for the 5th year running. Hi, Pro Supplements. We just signed a guy, and we want him to get 2nd and 3rd like he's been for half a decade. I mean,
yeah, everyone's got to hype everyone.
I hype the people I work with. I'm not an idiot though, yeah. But you know, when someone beats them, I'm going
to read what Phil's fiance wrote. I guess her Instagram handle is.
Well, she already like torpedoed her credibility like 30 seconds after the Arnold, when Cedric won the Arnold and gave, without a doubt, the best speech from the heart that universally has been accepted as, wow, what a speech, because it wasn't about Cedric, it was about the sport and struggles and anxiety and these type of things, and people loved it. They gave him a standing ovation. And then you said, can you beat Phil? Anyone who wins the Arnold's going to say yeah. And then she has a meltdown and says, you know, just because you give a great speech. I'm like, oh my goodness, her skin may be thinner than his.
Well, she said sometimes you have to pull out the Hanzo and give folks a slice of humble pie. You all should get your tickets, though. Sitting behind the computer talking shit and trolling all the competitors, that's weak of you. Your weak laptop doesn't do these guys justice. Come witness it live so you can see the difference between each of these athletes. And so, obviously, look, I think all kinds of like feuds like this are good for the sport. Great for marketing of the thing. I liked it that these guys don't like each other, because that's going to make them battle harder on stage. So,
it's the nature. Listen, it's the nature of the beast. Phil needs to hold on to his title. He's going to do everything that he can.
Right.
You know, he wants people to recognize him as a dominant champion, and people want his title. That's a fact. Yeah. And you know what? You go to the Olympia every year, and the last guy standing is Phil Heath. The flip side is Phil may have thin skin, but he's deserved the right to brag, or, you know, to needle people, or to...
absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, absolutely. And it's not like, I mean, I've been critical of his physique maybe 2 years out of like 7, or how many times has he won? You know, and I've had people in the show and thought for sure they beat him in prejudging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Only to have him come back a day later and say, geez, what happened? He looked like he gained 10 pounds in 24 hours. So, you know, it's his right to be able to needle people, but he should have the expectation to be picked on by his fellow competitors, you know, in terms of like, you know, I want your title, I'm going to beat you. It just gets odd when the spouse gets critical of speeches and gets critical of people, not their physiques, and gets really like, starts to come unwind or unhinged, and critical of people, you know, behind their computer screens. Dude, half the people behind the computer screens could be 400 pounds and never competed before, and their handle is ripped to the bone.
Right. Yeah. That's
you know,
true.
I mean, the thing with Phil is this. What I think his wife doesn't get. Phil still has the critical acclaim of his peers. I mean, if someone's gonna we're gonna go on a debate and say Phil's gonna lose this year, I'd be like, you're out of your mind. I mean, just go through the math. He wins every year. He gets perfect scores. He's got a few shots that are like really, really hard to beat. You know, where does that come from? So, I mean, he's got the support of, whether you like him or not, you know, people in the know. I mean, if you asked, like, Steve Weinberger, the head judge, what's he going to say? Yeah, Phil's going to get killed this year? Of course he's going to say the common sense thing, that the guy's won every year. You ask me, he's won every year. You ask Jay Cutler, you know, who's going to beat him? You ask, you know, go through a list of peers, not 400-pound people with the moniker, you know, sliced to smithereens.
Here's the question.
You know,
Chris.
critical of him on his Facebook account. That's, so the wife should discount the fact that people are critical of him and celebrate his wins and, you know, and be there to say, it's funny that you guys think that, you know, Phil's going to lose, but the judges, they're kind of important. They've seemed to have him winning. You know, someone from the NPC News, Dave Palumbo, so-and-so Guru, George Farrer, whatever, all say that, you know, it's going to be extremely hard to beat you.
Right. Well, this
I
is
think it's just
another
wasted
question.
Energy. It's wasted energy on the wrong target. The people who are anonymous on a computer board.
Let me interrupt you for a second, Chris. A lot of questions. I got some fans also asking the question. You know, let's say Phil wins number 7 and he goes for number 8 next year. You know, a lot of people, you know, are saying, well, is he the greatest of all time? You know, if he sets the record. A lot of people point to the fact that Ronnie was actually able to win the Arnold Classic and the Mr. Olympia in the same calendar year. Does that, you know, one-up him on everyone else? Because no one's done that. Even Lee Haney didn't do that. Should Phil have to try to win the Arnold? Is it something that matters at this point? Or is number 9?
I don't think it matters, and it shouldn't matter to him. I mean, that's like saying, you know what, I mean, the Arnold is not the biggest title. If anything, it's a watered-down title. There's like 19 of them a year. Yeah. There's only one Mr. Olympia. And, you know, when you win Mr. Olympia, you have the right, like Dexter Jackson in 2008, to tell everyone else, I'm the greatest.
Right.
And if you win, I don't really care, you know, if you win 8 in a row, you have to be considered the greatest by fact that, you know, for almost a decade, you're not being beat at the most important bodybuilding show of the year. I mean, you could say Dorian looked this way, and they're all hypotheticals. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, Lee Haney looked, you know, or I mean, I would actually put Arnold up there as number 1, but of course, according to Phil, he's got spaghetti legs.
Now, if it wasn't bad enough that the men's open guys are feuding, I see now the men's physique guys are actually feuding. Logan Franklin,
for the same reasons, dude. For the same reasons.
Franklin and Jeremy Buendia, who's Jeremy being the reigning Mr. Olympia in men's physique, have been getting into it online. I guess Logan was, Jeremy was posting pictures about how he's, you know, showing how he's better than all these other guys, comparing them, and then Logan Franklin put up a picture, like a side, you know, 3/4 shot comparison, and you know, said, here we are posting side by side now, clown. I guess the term clown referring to Jeremy Buendia. Jeremy, who has very thin skin, I don't know. I wouldn't even respond if I were Jeremy, because you know, he's the champion right now. But he got all upset, and he posted a response to Logan. Let's see if Johnny can get it up there online. And basically, he you know, he was pissed off. You know, he was he basically, you know, rather that I would have just said, yeah, you're right. You probably look better than me. You know.
Well, let me ask you this.
That's the way I am. But he, you know, he took offense to it.
Let me ask you this. What's the highest Logan has placed in the show?
Not as high as Jeremy, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, has he been second or third?
No.
You know, so, I mean, you responded to the guy who's not second or third.
That's why I'm saying it's not even worth responding to, really, on Jeremy's part.
No.
But it got ugly. It got ugly because Jeremy said, some nasty. I think he called him a piece of shit or something like that, and then Logan called Jeremy like a wife beater or a girlfriend beater or something like that.
Well, the problem is these guys personalize. It's like third grade. They personalize. I mean, you have to be able to critique. It's like showing an apartment. Some people come in and they say, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong. They're not attacking me. They're attacking something I'm renting.
Yeah, Johnny just put it up there. Logan wrote, okay, Conor McGregor. And then Jeremy wrote...
Good comeback.
Jeremy wrote, you're a scumbag, you'll never be a champion. Logan said, well, I don't beat my girlfriend's little boy. And then Jeremy Buendia wrote, exactly my point, you're a piece of shit, talking out your ass like a child. So... people might think this is bad for the sport. I say it's fantastic for the sport because now I'm interested to see that men's physique top 5 call out. Because if Logan makes it up there, I want to see him standing next to Buendia. I want to see some of the Kai Green, Phil Heath, showdown that happened a couple of years back. I want to see these guys with bad blood posing next to each other, don't you? I mean, that makes it exciting.
If Logan don't make it up there and Jeremy's in the middle, the flip side is why not? Jeremy can turn and point him out and invite him out, made a mistake.
Well, or the judges should put him up there next to him anyway, just so we can see some bumping and elbowing up there.
Well, the bigger feud is Boston Lloyd thinking my boy Reagan Grimes that he can beat Reagan and that.
Yeah, how about that one? Boston Lloyd saying that he'll meet Reagan Grimes anywhere, anytime, and he'll pose down with him.
Well, you heard what Reagan said. The response to that, right?
Well, Reagan said, I don't even want to talk to you.
No, he said, I'll see you at the prejudge and at the Tampa Pro. Oh, that's right. That's right. I'll see you at the prejudge and at the Tampa Pro. In other words, excuse me, I'm a professional bodybuilder. Yeah. we can compare on stage. Oh, no, that's right.
I'd like to see the pose down anyway. I'd pay money to see that pose down, just for social media purposes.
The problem with Reagan's physique is he looks like he just don't look serious until you see him in real life. I mean, he doesn't look like he's a big guy.
Right.
He don't look like he's got enough muscle. I told you, the first year he did the Arnold, Ohio, me and Jose thought, oh, he's not going to have enough muscle. I said, I think you're right, to win or whatever. And he, it was like a big jump, he was really young. And, Arnold, Ohio, they get all these European guys, on the Kuwait, Kuwait, program. And Reagan came to the hotel room and he looked like a guy going to the restaurant downstairs. And then he took off his clothes and I was like, I think you have plenty enough size to actually win the show.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have tons of size, but you know what I mean? Surprisingly, it's all put together right. And that's bodybuilding, right?
It's flow. It's an illusion. The sport's an illusion. I mean,
you know what?
Dennis James was Mr. Olympia in the gym in a tank top.
Yeah, well, I saw the guy, Patrick Moore who won the Supers?
Yeah.
I saw him in the lobby. I'm like, he was put together right, and I said, I wonder if he's going to look crazy on stage. And when he came on stage, I'm like, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like he looked that big.
Also, Regan's got that little kid's face too, so people take him. They don't take him seriously, but he's dangerous. Yeah. He's very dangerous. Yeah. Now, at the Tampa Pro this coming weekend, it's a stacked lineup there, Chris.
Yeah, I'm going down.
Henry Pierreneau. I see Jeff Beckham in the lineup. Max Charles coming back to the stage. Yep. I see Regan Grimes, obviously. I see Josh Lenardowitz, who's been looking absolutely enormous from the social media pictures I've seen of him lately. On Win, always dangerous. Rashid Oldraker making his pro debut.
Is he? Uh-oh.
I'm working with him, obviously, looking really good. I'm excited to get him up on stage. So it's going to be a dangerous show. Who knows who's going to win this thing?
I was hoping for a weak lineup.
Yeah, it's definitely not a weak lineup. And then, of course, I missed a couple people. Excuse me. Oh, this is the 212. I think we talked about the 212. No. You know who's making a comeback, Chris? Tommy Thorvildsen. Remember him?
The Glutezilla guy.
Glutezilla, yeah.
I only learned that day because I played that Trivial Pursuit bodybuilding game the guy sent me.
That's right.
So what Swedish bodybuilder is also known as Glutezilla? They put Andreas Carling or
Tommy Thorvildsen.
Johnny Styles. They threw that name in there as a trick.
Johnny Styles.
I was looking for D all above.
Johnny's got pictures of Leonardowitz up on the screen here. He's enormous. He's like he's like bigger than Rully Winkler, I think.
Is he hard or no?
Yeah, he's pretty hard. I mean, I'm sure he can be a little harder. These are still a few weeks out pictures, but I'm impressed.
No.
Classic physique. We got, let's see who I like here. Eric Dankwa, Matt Davis, Justin Freeman, Jim Holcomb, Eric Jones, who I'm helping, Nelson Lopez, Jason Lowe, Alverny McGee, Steve Musharbish, good guy. Chris Nemekitz, Matt Pattison, George Peterson. Oh, George Peterson trying to get that win and qualify for the Olympics.
Gosh, he's pulling a Hyde, like the Hyde did 5 or 6 years ago. Do all the shows.
Yeah, exactly. Jonathan Rapolt, Roe Schroer, John Luis, and Divine Wilson. So, and then we got more here. Eric Dankwa, James Darling, Matt Davis, Jim Holcomb. They have a Masters division too here. Holy mackerel! I think that's what I confused. Tommy Thorvildsen is doing the Masters.
Okay, there you go, Dave.
Right, that makes sense. Got men's physique. We got Muhammad Ali's competing. Did you know that?
No, which Muhammad Ali?
Muhammad Ali is in the men's physique lineup. he's a men's physique guy, but his name is Muhammad Ali. So I thought maybe Ali was coming back from the dead. All right, let's see who else. We got women's bodybuilding, good lineup. Obviously Sheila Bleck coming back to defend the title again. I'm working with her. See, Lisa Cross is back. Always dangerous in this lineup. Alicia Mesa looks really good. LaDawn Madej, Angela Rayburn, Janine Lankowski. So that's a deep field. They got fitness. I love watching fitness. I see, I don't know if you remember. Remember Jenny Worth?
Yes.
She was like a 19-year-old phenom in fitness. Yeah. Well, she's making a comeback after God knows how many, maybe 10, 15 years. Who knows how many years it's been. She'll be, wonder how she'll look and how her routine will be. I saw she did a guest posing in California, I think, like 2 weeks ago. But she's going to have, it's a tough lineup. You got Miriam Capes in the lineup, Bethany Wagner in the lineup. So should be a good fitness lineup. I see Pro Figure is stacked to the hilt. 2 pages full of names. You got Bikini. Bikini is actually pretty, oh, you got Masters Bikini. I see, okay. I don't see regular bikini lineup. Where's the regular bikini ones? Anyway, Tim Gardner's got a huge show coming up this coming weekend. Johnny will be there. You'll be there, Chris, covering it for us. I'm still homebound with my shoulder. No driving for me. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the champions in Tampa. And we'll see who comes home as the next Tampa Pro champion. And I guess Dan Solomon, texted me the other day and was asking me if I was going to be there or not. I told him I couldn't make it. But I don't know what his involvement with the show is. I know he used to sponsor the show with Pro Bodybuilding Weekly Radio. But
that's right. That's right. He had the show.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening
anymore. Has he got the? I don't see Digital Muscle at the USA. So.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. You'll have to have maybe you can have a sit down with him and interview him or something like that.
I'll have a heart-to-heart with him because people sometimes say, "Oh, that's Dan Solomon." You know that? To me, and then they go to him. Oh, that's Chris Aceto.
Oh my God! I have asked the technician questions, but we're not going to do it this time. We'll do it next time.
We got a quote of the week. People ask me about the quote of the week.
You know what? I was looking for a good quote of the week, to be honest with you, and I have a couple potentials here. This one you'll like. All right, I had a couple I was going to pick between, but I think this is a good one. All you need in this life is ignorance and confidence, and then success is sure. Isn't that right? Isn't that so true?
Well, confidence is half of success.
No, how many delusional people do we know out there that are so confident in their delusion that they actually succeed because of it?
Well, if ignorance is bliss. Sometimes if you're ignorant, you don't have fear.
Right.
Right? Like anyone who's been successful, they'll say, "God, I can't believe I used to do that in terms of anything." Risk all their financial capital. Quit their job to become a bodybuilder. They're ignorant of the downside, which means they're not fearful of it. So, fear is an anchor that we all have that keeps a lot of people from
succeeding.
From succeeding. So I mean, you can have fear and confidence, but if you have no fear and lots of confidence, oh my goodness.
Well, Chris, it all boils down to, I tell people this on a daily basis. I have clients, I'm always giving them advice. Find your passion and pursue it, okay? Because if you do that and you don't worry about what anyone else says, then you cannot fail. It's just, it is what it is. You only fail, like you said, if you have a doubt, because then what happens is you act on that doubt. So it's a very wise, it's ironic and it's a little bit humorous, but Mark Twain hit it right. If you're ignorant, that means that you believe totally in what you're thinking in your mind, no matter what anyone says. And if you're confident, then you can't fail because you have complete belief that you're going to make it. So that's all it takes. Now, on the flip side of it, you don't need to be ignorant necessarily. Just have a passion and a goal in your mind, and just understand that no matter how long it takes, you will succeed. The only way you can fail is if you quit. Never quit. Okay, look at these guys who are winning these USA Championships, and these guys have been trying for years after years. They just don't quit. The only people who fail are the people who stop trying. And on that note, we're out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Sure does. Good night, everyone.